about 6:55 in the evening. It makes about 5 minutes to sunset. It's a nice coloring, nice orange. Unfortunately, there aren't any signs of vegetation on the trees yet, but there's one positive to that, along with the rain that we've had, and that being that you can see the little stream we have in stark contrast. Anyway, I just did a long stream, so I pretty much covered what I wanted to cover in that regard. But there is one topic to take advantage of the view and the nice weather, and that is the idea of dreams providing an unmistakable window into your psychological state and other stressors you are facing. Now, during your waking hours, you can shove psychological stress and physical stress deep down and hopefully successfully act like they don't exist. You can ignore them, suppress them. However, when you're asleep, that's when the game really starts. Your defenses are down. You can't suppress your mood anymore. And the movie in your mind starts to play. And most of the time, it's a movie out of a science fiction horror show. I can give you an example of a dream from last night that was pretty bad, but I think I know where it came from, and it's probably a combination of physical stress and psychological stress, because I woke up in some pain, so it matches and maps onto the dream. Anyway, in this dream, there was a illness that afflicted family members of myself and friends, and as the dream went on, you could see all these people in physical pain, throwing up, and then never to be seen again. And then the dream continues in what I suspect would be some hospital of some sort, but there was surveillance all over the place. You're being watched, and you're kind of drifting in and out of semi-consciousness, and I feel like I was being observed for, I don't know how I would react to this illness or something, like it was being studied, kind of like a novel virus or something. I don't know, just my mind creates these stories that I'm not creative enough to think of when I'm awake or when I'm asleep. Again, all these things come to play. And if I was a writer, it'd be pretty cool. But I'm not. So they exist in my mind alone. Most people, they say forget their dreams. I don't. I can remember them if I want to. It makes for cool stories if I want to tell them, but most of the time, people say they get refreshed from sleep. I don't, because at the end of the day, you live a life where you're awake and then you go to sleep and your brain is still running, and it's not something that you forget. So having a brain that constantly runs, it's not refreshing. Especially when the dreams are dreams that echo physical pain and some type of, I don't know, forced living, where your reactions are watched for the amusement or the benefit of others. So it makes sense that you'd have a dream that kind of closely matches those themes. And it's not like I really watch any movies. I don't care to watch any movies or read any science fiction books. So I'm not influenced by any other outside factor. It's just my continually breaking brain as it tries to make sense of the physical and emotional stimuli that I receive. It's kind of interesting. Let's see if the moon is on the other side. It doesn't look to be. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. You would think I would dream of these woods, but I don't. The only dreams that come close to that are dreams where I'm running through a field, always being chased by something, and then either outrunning them and getting lost, or waking up before something violent happens. I don't know. Dreams can tell you a lot of things you don't want to know. They are important though. I can see why at the end of the day they have evolutionary benefit. Because there is evolutionary benefit to being on edge. I know anxiety is like a major thing of present talk, but anxiety's existed for a long time. It has very little to do with technology and computers. I think it's hardwired. I think just now people are more communicative of their issues. so things come to the surface easier. And it's always easy to draw correlative relationships. But there's a big difference between correlative relationships and causative relationships. So I would just caution people to look more to history, look more to biology, and understand that our place in time isn't that unique. Even though maybe it's evolutionary beneficial to think that everyone's place in time is special. That's probably the case, but it's largely unhelpful. Keeps you trapped in the moment. And when you reach a certain level of ability to be aware of your larger surroundings, as we are right now, being trapped in the moment is only a stumbling block to potentially greater connectedness. Maybe the greater connectedness we need to avoid psychological and physical stress. And I just found the moon, but you're not going to be able to see it. It is straight up where I'm pointing the camera, but a branch is blocking it. And it looks like it's in the crescent phase, so it's not as obvious as a full moon phase. I forget all the different phases. You have waxing and waning. And you have the various stages between a new moon and a full moon. But that was long ago in middle school when I knew that. And it never came up after that, so it wasn't that important to know. But it's good to know things for a short period of time. I said that in my stream today. That's a running theme of my videos and streams. It's good to know things even if you don't use the information. At some point, if you talk long enough, it always comes up. See, if people had interesting dreams of their own, even if they were of psychologically distressive origins, maybe people wouldn't feel the need to cling on to other people's conspiracy theories, and they could be their own interesting individual with their own interesting and somewhat unique take on their psychological issues. If you're gonna have psychological issues, at least have an interesting experience with them. In that respect, you don't need a community. You can just be your own unique individual that watches this show in their brain. You don't have to be a passenger to someone else's story. You can write your own if you wish. The trick is understanding that writing your own story requires some level of talent, and clinging on to other people's conspiracy theories requires no talent. So that's why the majority of people with a psychological disorder go down that path instead. Of course, there are people with a psychological disorder that just keep quiet. But I contend, once again, if you're gonna have a psychological disorder that haunts you, at least make it useful for you. And with that, as the light fades, becomes less interesting, I will leave you with a shot of the moon. Hopefully it shows up through the tree branches.